Hello, fellow Alicians. Yes, that's how I'm calling the fans, the obvious thousands of fans that we have for this video series, Alicians. Welcome back, fellow Alicians. I'm regretting this already. To the final installment of Alicia the Punchcat. We have done quite a bit of progress. We have secured Volume 1 of the Lusty Argonian Maid. We have completed almost all of our sub-goals. So, all that's left to do is to get the second volume and buy a house for the specific purpose of reading those two books inside of it. And that will be the end goal. So, I am your host, Madhog Thy Master.
And I'm your guest, hedonistic actor.
Guest host.
Yeah.
Is it just me, or are you more tired than usual?
Oh, should I make some kind of a more bombastic intro, like, "Yo, what's up, you my homies? It's your boy, hedonistic actor, and I'm here with my co-host, Madhog Time Master, and we are doing some epic skills making, yos."
Don't ever do that again. I will put a curse on your own family, on your entire bloodline. I will summon a hex and just place it on your forehead. It will make you grow a third arm, and I don't know where I'm going with this, but don't do that ever again. What is up with you? What's wrong with you? You know what? I was tired a second ago too, but not anymore. Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Jeez. What? Why? This is supposed to be a classy, sophisticated, intellectually stimulating playthrough. And there you go. What's up, boys? It's your boy, Fam Mega Cat Scandinavian Man 3000 Mega something or the other. What's up, fellow kids?
Yeah, the names you have, at least from what I've seen, the names you have given your characters are not that extraordinary or something there. Because I always try to come up with so weird fantasy names.
Oh, I leave all the weirdness for the last names, the surnames.
Yeah.
Usually, her last name, I remind you, is Meow Taunt, as in she's taunting you by meowing.
Yeah, when I went through Skyrim with that Khajiit, his name was Kolechak.
That seems a bit racially dicey, if you ask me.
Yeah,
There is a reason why I give semi-normal, understandable names to my characters, because I don't want to accidentally be racist. You know. Of course, in my youth, I would have totally called the Khajiit cat, I don't know, Matahari-chan or something. But I'm not 12 anymore.
Yeah, that's just a completely made-up
Illusion!
word.
What are you saying?
Yeah, it's just a completely made-up word. I have no idea does it actually mean anything in any language.
I know it's made up, but it sounds racially dicey when you say it out loud, when the words, the letters, exit your mouth.
It sounds like you're saying racialist dicey.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
So it's an insult against Russians.
No, wait, did you say Russian? I thought you said Russially. I thought you were starting like to saying Russian, but then you ended up saying Russially, and it became a weird amalgamation of two words.
Oh, you meant racially.
Yes, I said racially. Okay, maybe I pronounced it in the other way that's usually pronounced by someone
Racially.
else. Racially. You know, both versions are valid, okay? When I write the word color, I add a U in it, the British spelling of it. So I am
Yeah.
like that. Anyway, when you are bilingual and English is not your first vocabulary, you tend to adopt several pronunciations, accents, or ways to spell a vocabulary, a word, from various
Yeah,
of
we
the
are kind of.
existing versions that are
Yeah, we have
around.
constantly have to make choices between American and British dialects.
Yes,
Which
thanks,
is
American and British imperialism.
which is better, elevator or lift?
Elevator sounds much more manly, I say.
Yeah.
Lift sounds like you're basically a plastic surgery on your face, lifting up your pores and your skin. You know, we call that lifting around these
Yeah,
parts.
maybe we should fight against Anglo-Saxon culture imperialism. Speak in our own mother languages and then add subtitles later on.
By the way, which is better for you? Apartment or what's the British equivalent? What was the British equivalent?
Flat?
Flat, yes. Which is better, apartment or flat?
An apartment is better. Flat. A pancake is flat.
Right. I like apartment too, mostly because of the film The Apartment by Billy Wilder.
It's a good movie.
It is very good. And it is very relevant, socially relevant to this very day.
Yeah, it has been many years since I've last seen
It's
it.
a
So
film about prostitution.
oh, it was about that.
Well, allegorically, it is about how fitting into society equates to prostituting yourself for the benefit of those on a higher social pole. It's a good film.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have to reach that place, that Honningbrew, which is right beside Whiterun, you might have noticed. Guess what? That's where Volume 2 can be found.
What was the place where it was found again?
It was that brewery that's just 2 steps away from Whiterun, which I remind you, it's the first hold we've visited. It was there all along. Alright then. So, the journey to go there will be long and arduous because, let me remind you once again the rules. We cannot use teleportation. We have to go anywhere and everywhere by foot. So there is a long journey back from the Dawnguard Tower to the vicinity of Whiterun.
Oh, a fox.
Yes, that was a fox. Very observant, my good friend.
So apparently foxes are harmless enough that they run away.
Considering we are punching dragons in this game, I'd say yes.
It knows.
The animals always know. They have instincts that help them recognize the danger.
And yet all those wolves attack you constantly.
Some animals are smarter, I guess. I don't know what to tell you.
Or maybe Alicia's looks are deceiving.
Okay, so maybe they thought, foxes are innocuous enough. It's not like they are dangerous like packs of wolves. Of course, whomever made this game was not aware of how much danger could a fox pose to anyone.
Yeah.
As we established, fox may appear cute, but they are wild dogs, essentially. Wild dogs are dangerous no matter what.
Yeah. As I said in the previous video, I've seen a fox in the wild, but with a big enough group so it kept its distance.
Anyway, I do have a topic that I wanted to bring about since last session, actually. Let me ask you something, my good co-host, yo Scandinavian man, Mega 5000, whatever your name is this week. What do you think is the difference between the concepts of world building and lore in the context of a narrative, in the context of a fictional world?
Well, they sound rather interchangeable terms. Both are.
You could not possibly be more wrong, my friend. It's a good thing I asked this question because I'm here to sort of lift the fog of ignorance once and for all and educate people about the key difference between the two things. So, not to be condescending or anything, too late for that, let me provide you with a tangible example to illustrate my future to-be-made points. Now, let's suppose that you're writing a story and you have a fictional character that has to go and buy some fish. That's the story right now. He has to go and buy some fish. He has just come to a new town, so he doesn't know the layout of the town yet. He doesn't know where he could buy the fish. So he asks somebody, "Hey, where could I go buy some fish, my good man, sir, or ma'am, or anything in between, Mr., Miss, or Mix? Where can I buy some fish?" To wit, the person will point the lad towards the fishmonger, which happens to be in the main square of the town. The main square can be found here. Okay, so now I know where to find the fishmonger in case I want to buy fish in the future. So I get to the square, and wouldn't you know it, the fishmonger is there, but so are many other stalls selling foods and various goods that people are constantly there to buy. So now you have learned where people go to buy groceries, in the main square of the town. By following the quest, advancing the plot, you manage to organically learn something new about the world. You know where the fishmonger is, you know where the market is, you know where people buy the food. That, my friend, is world building.
Yeah, I guess I can, now that you mention it, kind of understand the difference where world building is about helping you to reach your goal. Lore is more about giving depth to the world you already exist
No.
with.
No. World building is about organically giving you information about the fictional world as the plot advances. Essentially, if you're navigating a fictional world and you don't want to interrupt the story and drown everything with exposition, the best way to let the fruitor the audience of your story about how the world works is through the narrative, is by having the character follow the plot, and the world opens up as they do. That's world building. Now, as far as lore is concerned, this is what lore is. Suppose you chat with the fishmonger for a little bit before buying the fish, and the fishmonger inexplicably gets it in his head that you are a big fan of fishmongering. So he hands you a book that's titled The Complete History of Fishmongers Across the Land. This book has absolutely no use for you, but it is something that you can read on your own time if you're really curious, but it's not something that's going to enhance or help you along in the quest, in the story, in any way. It's a bit of extra information that's fundamentally useless for the story, but it can be enriching if you're really, really into fishmongering. And that is what lore is in a nutshell.
Got to keep my eyes open. Damn dragons could
Background information, unnecessary for the plot, unnecessary for world building. It's just there in case you're curious about it.
Well, the lore gives context for...
Not necessarily. That can still be world building. World building gives you context for the story in the way I just told you about. Lore is background information. You don't need to know the complete history of Tamriel to focus on whatever socio-political issues are going on in the context of Skyrim. They are pretty easy to follow and understandable in their own right. You don't need to read any of the books that you find within Skyrim to follow the various plots and quest lines in Skyrim. Any and all information you need to follow the stories that you come across are presented in the quests themselves.
Yeah, well, there is... Well, I'm not sure if I agree with the notion that there will be a completely useless piece of knowledge, as there's
Okay.
this...
When I say useless, I mean it's not necessary for you to enjoy the story. There are obviously, like with everything, there are layers. In that,
it's an optional
if
thing,
again, yes, that's optional.
like
That's what I'm
extended
getting
universe
to.
stuff.
Exactly, it is optional. It is not vital. It is optional. That's the difference.
Oh no, you...
A elk killed my family. Oh, and the troll helped it. They were in cahoots, like The Undertaker and Kane in 1998.
Yeah, these trolls have nothing to Forgotten Realms trolls, because they don't... because of their regeneration.
I thought you were about to say wretch narration.
Yeah.
Right, so I hope I cleared the air on that common misunderstanding. World building and lore are not the same thing. They operate under different rules and they have different goals and objectives within a narrative. In fact, depending on the story, depending on the fiction itself, world building isn't even necessary. The more relatable a narrative context and setting is, the less you have any need for world building. Everybody knows how a kitchen works, right? However, if you are in a fantasy world, such as an RPG, you need to somehow ground the audience into a familiar situation. such as the example of the fishmonger. Oh, so that's where you go and buy fish and groceries in this world. Now I get it. Now I know how this aspect of the world works. On the other hand, I have absolutely no use for the complete history of fishmongers across the land. However, if I ever decide to get into fishmongering for some reason, I guess I have a useful almanac. But that will not help me punching dragons. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess it depends on what is the goal you're trying to reach. Even the lore's usefulness depends on the context on where do you want to apply it to. But yeah, I do like gathering knowledge just for the sake of gathering knowledge.
And that's fine, that's valid too, if that's what you like. What I'm merely saying is that the information is entirely optional. Lore is optional information about a fictional world. If you like it, that's extremely cool. But if you don't, that's also very cool. I don't, for the most part. I care more about organically building the world as it opens up, as I progress in the story. That's what keeps me invested in the fictional world.
I do like to consume Elder Scrolls lore because it's full of absolutely bonkers stuff.
Which I'm sure, now that you brought it up, you will be all too happy to share with us.
Well, yeah, I did get in case we ran out of conversation topics to open the Elder Scrolls wiki in case you want to know some lore stuff.
You might want to put a pin on that, because we are about to do something interesting here. So, we talked about world building, right? So, what better example of world building than just walking around, minding my own business, when suddenly a dragon attacks out of nowhere?
Oh.
Now you know that this can happen. You've learned something new about the world. Random dragon attacks. That's bad.
Yeah, they're good at sneaking.
Apparently, this one just popped out of nowhere. You'd think they'd be easy to spot, since they are big, bulky masses flying about, eclipsing the sun. But no, apparently they can just sneak up on you. You can talk to a guy in a town, then suddenly a rude dragon just flops down on you as you're having a conversation, and it's very rude. If I had $1 for every time this happened, I would have $10.
And it killed an innocent farmer for no reason.
Right, so we're having a dragon combat. Finally, are you happy? This is a good chance to try out my newfangled crossbow, which I took in the Dongar Tower. The crossbow is very good, by the way. It's a bit slower than the regular bow and arrow, but it's a lot more precise, and it, as you could see, it's more powerful, and I just punched the dragon to death. Hallelujah.
Yeah, it failed to realize who the real threat was.
Right.
And that's why if you breathe fire on someone, stay to make sure that it actually is dead.
That's advice for dragons specifically.
Yeah. I mean, as soon as it had breathed on you once, it left to breathe on something else.
Right. So we were here last time before being rudely interrupted by the surprise dragon sneak attack. I wasn't done looting the place.
Yeah. Yeah, if they wanted to be really ambitious, they should make like a Far Cry type of environmental damage that the dragons could cause forest fires.
That would make for a much more interesting game, but also a much more frustrating game. And with the bugs that this game is notorious for, I wouldn't trust it to hold it together with too many physical elements to consider.
I wonder if there's a mod for that.
I'm sure it is. There is a mod that makes the NPCs more intelligent. I'm sure I told you that already.
Yeah.
Right, so you have your topics, right? As I said, this is a long journey. You might as well hit me with them like a truck. Yes,
Well,
yes, kids. After all that talk about lore, let's just drown ourselves in pointless information about the Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, at one point I was talking about the concept of dragon breaks, which are these temporal phenomena, and which is the reason why all endings of Daggerfall happened are part of the canon because of the.
Ugh. Yes, I remember that. Vaguely.
Yeah, that was the.
Yes.
That was the third time when such an event happened in the history.
Are you okay?
Yes, I'm okay. I'm just reading at the same time.
I thought you were falling asleep.
Yeah, that event was called. Let me check.
Yes, you do that while
Okay.
I kill this troll.
Oh, sorry, it was the fifth time because there were some other times. Well, I'm going to read about. Okay, well, I just read the article in its entirety.
Oh boy.
In my narrator voice.
Oh no.
A dragon break, sometimes referred to as an untime, is a temporal phenomenon that involves a splitting of the natural timeline which results in branching parallel realities where the same events occur differently or not at all. This results in a return to the nonlinear timeline of the Dawn era. At the end of the Dragon Break, the timeline reconnects, making all possibilities and outcomes true contradictory to each other. The dragon that is mentioned is in reference towards Akatos, the dragon god of time. And do you remember how Alduin became to this world?
No.
Do you? Because he was causing havoc during the first era, but they did some thing
They
that
did
they thought.
some Ocus Pocus Hullabaloo.
Yeah, they sent him forward in time, and that's why.
Oh no! You mean to tell me they samurai jacked him?
I haven't seen the show.
Can't go back to the past, Samurai Jack. Watch out! I would tentatively recommend Samurai Jack, but I am still a bit disappointed by the season finale. Very disappointed by season 5, especially considering how promising the beginning was. That's a rant for another time. Anyway, Alduin, so he was samurai jacked into the future, which is really funny to learn. So he reappeared in future time, present time Skyrim, having been sent from the past, and is waking up all the other dragons.
Yeah.
Isn't that part of the actual main narrative of Skyrim? Don't
Yeah,
they actually explain that in the main quest?
They explain it in the main quest.
Then it's
Because,
not lore, it's vital plot information.
Yeah. I guess you didn't follow the story.
I mean, I did at some point, but, you know, what with skipping all the dialogues because the story sucks?
Yeah.
Well, would you look at this? I'm stuck. Isn't that wonderful? I've unstuck myself! Hooray.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
yes, you may
Think
continue.
about the first recorded Dragon Break, because it's arguable if the
I like the way you say dragon.
creation of the world can be considered as a Dragon Break. The event called the Time Wound, but
The time
Yeah,
wound.
that requires a lot of knowledge on the various what was the Eldritch princess or gods of that world. So I'm going to skip that. There's the Red Moment. The Red Moment was a possible dragon break that occurred sometime near the year 668 of the First Era during the Battle of Red Mountain. The Red Moment is believed to be the first dragon break to be caused by the Numidium, being the accepted
I'm
date
sorry.
of the...
I'm sorry, is this just the Silmarillion?
There's been a
Is
while
this
since I've
just
read
Lord of the
Silmarillion.
Rings all over again?
I don't think Lord of the Rings had any time shenanigans.
No, but the names, the very vaguely fantasy-ish names. The Red Moment, the Red Mountain, the big battle of what's-his-face,
Yeah.
world-shaping
remember-
events. First, the second,
as
and
ex-
third eras.
And explained in Morrowind, Numidiums are the gigantic brass constructs built by the dwarves that whenever you activate them, they can cause these tracker breaks. And
Fun.
yeah.
I think I fought.
was-
I think I fought a couple of those in this game.
Oh, there are Numidiums?
I don't know. There are giant golden golems I find in the various caves of the Dweemers. I assume those are the golems in question.
I think Numidiums are like mechasites.
Yeah, it has to be those. They are pretty big. And they go down rather easily with my crossbow, might I add.
Is it some kind of special crossbow?
Well, it's an enhanced crossbow that I have powered up to the max, and at that point I'm also level 50, so they go down in 4 hits. But
Yeah.
aside from that, they are very slow and clunky, so they are very easy to circle strafe and hit them when they try to hit you.
Yeah,
I
but
find.
these are Numidiums specifically are. I guess they are powered by the pieces of gods or something, but I'm not sure.
Well, considering I find always those crystallized souls inside of them, which I use for my enchantments, I would have to assume it's them.
Yeah, but anyway, the Red Moment, evidence of this break's existence can be seen in the multiple conflicting accounts of what actually occurred during the time period in which the War of the First Council took place. Most historical contradictions surrounding the event revolve around the people most involved in the war, such as Nerevarn, the Tribunal, Vurun, Dakot, and Dumak Dwarf King. I don't know who those are. Notable questionable events with inconsistent outcomes can be observed, such as whether or not House Dakot was loyal to the Khmer, the Nords, or the Dwemer during the battle. By whom was Dakot slain or dispelled, the Tribunal or Nerevarn? By whom was Dumak killed, Nerevarn, Fulfrat, or Dakot? Was it the actions of the Gagnak, Dagoth Ur Vulnart, or the tribunal that caused the Dwemer's disappearance?
Matti, at this point you're just saying words with no meaning
Yeah.
whatsoever, and I cannot follow you anymore. I made my point clear about unnecessary backstory, lores, optional information. None of this helps me defeat the dragons. Now, does it? None of this helps me getting invested in the world presented in a given Elder Scrolls game. Now, does it?
But I guess lore can give more depth to the world and make sure it just doesn't exist in a vacuum.
Either that, or it makes the world much more stupid. And it very much accentuates in the worst possible way its Tolkien inspirations. There's nothing wrong with that, because Tolkien is the single most influential fantasy writer in existence. But still, if you are bombarding me with notions about impossibly named guy who fought other impossibly named guy in the glorious battle of the Rainbow Collision, or whatever the name was, then it's too much Tolkien just bombarded upon me.
Okay, here was the interesting dragon break that I remember.
If you say so, if you say that's interesting, go on ahead.
The Middle Dawn. The Middle Dawn was the longest dragon break in all of Tamriel history, lasting 1008 years from its beginning in the 1200 First Era till its end in the 2208 in the First Era. The dragon break began after a fanatical sect of the Alessian Order known as the Marukhatl Selective attempted to remove specific aspects of Agathos they did not approve of, most notably the god's connection to the elven time god Auriel. The archprelate of the Selective, Ferdivius Tarn, and his subordinates used the prophet Markut's teaching and the previously assembled staff of towers to reach a state of monothought, and recognizable that the wheel sideways is a tower? They proceeded to dance upon the white tower.
Why the question mark at the end of that?
I was trying to remember what the context of that sentence was.
If the lore doesn't even give you context for itself, it's bad lore!
There is a link to something called Chim, but... They proceeded to dance upon the White God Tower until time was made unstable and created the dragon break known as Middle Dawn, which broke the staff of
Middle Dawn? Really? Really? They couldn't come up with better names than Middle Dawn or The Red Moment.
The Middle Dawn was a much more extreme occurrence than any other dragon break. The world slept through the disaster. Had it not been for the Emperor's souls held within the Amulet of Kings, the entire event may have been forgotten. As the event, the Elder Scrolls were unable to look back at the time period in which the Middle Dawn took place. Most stories and texts that survived the Middle Dawn vary quite heavily on the events of what actually transpired during the Middle Dawn, normally conflicting regards to certain people, regions, and wars. More unorthodox accounts make claims that the sun had changed color, that people birthed their own parents, that gods walked amongst mortals, that the Emperor spread its reaches into the stars, and even stating that Cyrodiil became an egg. Of all texts collected by the Elder Council, there are no concurrences save for one point. Every Argot from across Tamriel coincides on the fall of 8 stars, and this concept was used to keep track of time. However, some Khajiit claim that they kept track of their days by looking upon the constant moons, which the other races did not have the sugar to see. Members of the Tribunal Temple claim that Morrowind was protected from the effects of the break by the Daedran Tribunal, believing the 8 stars represent each iniquity Lorcan made clear to the world. Menoli was said to have been burned so bright during the Middle Dawn that she could be seen even in daylight sky. this could possibly mean that Nemonly was the reason for the reported changes in the sun's color.
So, hearing you read this entire wall of text sort of made the point I was trying to make earlier about lore much more effective, much more salient. The lore you just read was the complete history of fishmongers across the land. You would have to be a really, really hardcore nerd of the fishmonger industry to care about the deep history of fishmongers. In fact, everything you just read to me, I almost immediately tuned it out. Just entered one ear and exited the other. You made my point about lore so perfectly salient, so perfectly summarized. You gave me the best example possible. Only the most fanatical fans, that's redundant to say, I know, only the most hardcore of Elder Scrolls fans will care about all of this sort of cool but also sort of generic fantasy insipid tripe, to the point that they would memorize it or even bother reading it in the first place.
I guess it's one of those books that you can find all across the games.
I'm pretty sure it is, and I proudly have not read any of those. Except for one. I say this, and I'll say it again. The only lore that actually matters is the Lusty Argonian Maid. Which, funnily enough, given the narrative that we have for this playthrough, I've taken a piece of lore and I turned it into the story's MacGuffin. I turned it into the goal that drives the plot, but it's not actually the focus of the plot, because the focus of the plot is us fuffing about.
So Alicia is a scaly.
I think that was well established by now. I think Alicia is just a connoisseur of literary erotica in general. She doesn't make differentiations. We have a flame Atronach. I haven't summoned my own flame Atronach in a while.
I thought you were a friend.
What? Did I offend you? Did I offend you with my dissing of
flame Atronach?
It's not my flame Atronach, it's just some random flame Atronach walking the path, minding its own business up until it sees me and decides, you know what, I need to kill this one. I don't like the look in her eyes.
What it was even doing there?
That's a good question, actually. I know, thanks to world building, I know that flame Atronachs are summoned creatures from another realm that summoners and mages bring upon this realm. I know that they can be summoned because I learned the spell to summon them. So to have one just randomly lost in Skyrim is a bit unusual, is it?
Yeah. But yeah, really the only dragon break you really need to know about is the warp in the west that is the result of the events of Daggerfall and directly relate to Morrowind's plot.
Because that's less lore and more establishing the setting.
Yeah. But
yes,
I have to...
It's yes, okay, there is a difference between lore and establishing the setting. That whole exposition blurb at the beginning of the Lord of the Rings films, that's not lore, that's vital plot information, and it's establishing the setting and the narrative going forward. It's important to know who Sauron was before, well, you fight him again. Right. So, the book, the second volume of The Lusty Argonian Maid, is in this building.
But it does make me wonder, if someone watches Lord of the Rings that is not aware of what's happening there before, and is the opening could they still watch it understandably without the opening narration?
The opening narration tells you everything you really need to know about the world, the bad guys and the good guys. Everything else is organically introduced as the film goes on. I watched that film without knowing anything about Lord of the Rings or anything prior to it, but it is such a clear-cut, simple, universal fantasy of good versus evil kind of story that anybody can get into it. Okay. It's the key to the success of Lord of the Rings.
Well, I do have the Elder Scrolls wiki open, so if there's anything you have always wondered about the world of Tamriel, I can try to find information and put your mind to rest for good.
What became of the author of The Lusty Argonian Maid?
Okay. Check.
Like I said, that's the only lore that matters to me. I think his name is Crassius Colto? Something like that.
What is the exact name of the books?
Crassius. The author is Crassius.
Is it
get
the
it?
Lusty Argonian Maid?
I mean, get it?
Because
Crassius.
Because there are several works where Lusty Argonian Maid can be found.
No, there is just one, volume 1 and 2.
Because there is a song and Sultry Argonian Bard version.
That's another one, which we are not hunting for today. Oh! There it is. There it is. Crassius. Crassius Curio. That's his name. There it is.
Okay.
That's volume 2, my man. We're almost done. Now all we have to do is farm money in order to buy a house, which is the most time-consuming task.
Oh yeah, Crassius Curio can be found in Morrowind.
I'm aware. That much I know. Oops.
Yeah. Imperial nobleman in the city of Vivek City serving
I've
as
been
a
caught!
counselor.
I've been caught stealing the goods! Oh no!
Serving as a counselor for House Lalu. He also writes adult novels.
That much is clear. That's his legacy. Anything else?
I'm looking. Imperial noble, served as the House Lalu consul, also the author of the Lusty Argonian Maid and the Three-Legged Guar, which does not appear in-game. He also has residence. He owns a copy of the rare skill book Lord Jornimbred's Last Dance. In the folio version of the Lusty Argonian Maid, Curio said he showed up to the Arano household, and instead of throwing him back on the streets, the Arano family allowed him to stay at their home.
That's wholesome. I like that they went the extra mile to give us information about the fictional author of a fictional erotica available in the world of the Elder Scrolls. Now that is the kind of detail that makes you love a fictional universe more. Not the grand, incomprehensible battle of what's-his-face and how the world was created. No, it's this sort of elements that that ground the grandiosity of it into a familiar territory, that makes
That-
the world more feel more lived in.
Okay, he has there are stats. He's on level 21, health 159, magic 140, fatigue 234, fight 30, alarm 90, flee 30. Personality. He is notable due to his somewhat eccentric behavior, for example, displaying bisexual tendencies when asking the Nevervarian to strip for him, including rings and amulets, to become their patron, regardless of their gender. He will also ask that the Nevervarian refer to him as Uncle Crassius, and in turn will refer...
Oh, Uncle Crassius!
and in turn will refer to them as Dumpling.
I love this man!
Nevertheless, he is one of the few characters in House Lal who is opposed to corruption. Many of his quests deal with ending the crooked reign of Odral Helvi in Kadelra, during which you can either complete the study quest according to Helvi's orders or ask Crassius what to do. And then there are some interactions with him.
Can I just say, Uncle Crassius sounds like an outstanding guy. I love him. This quest shall honor the memory of one of the best characters that this series has ever produced.
And with his equipment, aside from the Lusty Argonian Maid, he also has extravagant pants, extravagant shirt, and extravagant shoes.
Extravagant. What's his race?
Imperial.
Oh, right. Imperials are apparently their own race in this world, which is wild to me.
Got something for just about everybody.
Yeah, I guess he is come from Cyrodiil originally.
Nice.
Everything's for sale, my friend.
That's the only Imperial I like.
Odds and ends, that sort of thing.
And now begins the steady, slow process of selling all of our crap to get enough money to buy a house. This
So
will
my
take a
favorite-
while.
So one
Yes?
of my favorite characters from this franchise and from the same case is Divate Fyr, who is this kind of an dark elf living in, who does all kind of genetical experiments and has an harem of his own female clones.
Living
Or
the
something.
dream, I guess? Goals?
He's a-
What a piece of work. Ah, okay. That sounds interesting.
Do come back.
Okay. There are interactions. Main quest Halu Horator. The Neverani must become Horator of House Lalu as part of fulfilling the Nerevarin prophecy. Curio must be convinced to support the Nerevarin. The Neverani must be titled Horator of the Great House of Morrowind and Nerevarin by the Ashalander tribes. Curio may inform the Neverani that Arshanon Sarioni wishes to speak with them.
Okay, I don't need to know that. All the interesting bits have been already told by you. Already read. Uncle Crassius, your horniness for lizard women shall live on forever. He was bi, huh?
Yeah.
That's very cool. That's very neat. Oh, that explains why he wrote the male version of that later on. Right. He's
No,
just
then-
horny for lizard in general. And you know what? More power to him.
Now that I mentioned it, I guess I could also tell about Divate Fyr, the ultimate
know-
sugar daddy.
I will say this. One of the most irritating features of this series is that merchants have limited money to spend. So if you find something very expensive that you can sell for a profit, most likely you cannot because nobody in the world has that enough money to buy it. So either you get a raw deal and you get much less money for it, or you try and hope to find a richer merchant. That's a bit of a pain in the neck, especially if you're trying to farm money to buy a house.
So, Divate Fyr is a powerful 4,000-year-old Dunmer sorcerer and member of House Telvanni who resided in Tel Fyr in Zavriel Bay. He served as the caretaker of Corpusarium, a quarantine area which treats those infected with Corprus, which is this kind of a supernatural disease caused by Dagot Ur in Morrowind. Though a member of House Telvanni, he generally stays out of house politics and has no intention of joining the council. He lives there with his four women with the surname Fyr, Alpha, Beta, Delta, and Oopse. He refers to them as his daughters, while they call themselves his wives, but they are not in fact his clones. Okay, I remember. But they are in fact his clones. Yeah, okay.
So correct me if I'm wrong. These are the people who are all happy and cool with slavery, right?
Yeah, I mean, Morrowind is one of the only region in the Empire that allows slavery.
Yes, I don't like them.
Yeah.
You know what? That's a bit of a demerit for Uncle Crassius to be around those folks.
Well, good riddance to Wardenfell.
Yes, you know what? Good riddance.
Yeah. Don't support slavery or your island gets destroyed by a volcano.
Yes, and you deserve it. Although that seems a bit arbitrary as a punishment. That doesn't really seem correlated at all. But still, good. Good riddance. Now, if only we can do that in real life.
Let me check how they actually found.
So you might have noticed I left Whiterun again, and that's because I'm apparently running all the way back to River Town, whatever its name was, because there is another merchant there, and I need to sell my useless crap!
Yeah, it will be interested to visit the alternate reality where Morrowind was released in 1998 instead of 2002.
Why?
I don't know, just to see it, because they were originally planned to release it 2 years after Daggerfall, and it would have been rather
It's
different.
probably for the best that they didn't.
Yeah.
Okay, so the rest of this entire video, it's just farming for money to buy property. This is
How
the
much-
game now. We have about half an hour left.
I play 90s Japanese role-playing game if I want grinding, thank you very much.
Shut up.
So how much does a house cost in this?
The most economic option, the hold in Whiterun, that's about 5,000 gold.
How much do you have now?
More than 3,000. I'm getting close. But it's that last stretch. Are we just going to ignore the naked dead body in the middle of the streets, everybody?
Ask who was that?
That's, I believe, the blacksmith, which I accidentally killed at the beginning of all this. Remember? Oh, the story is coming full circle. We are back at the scene of the crime. Isn't that great?
Now that I think of it, I don't think I've seen any graveyards in this game.
There are a couple I fumbled upon, but they are there because there is a quest about them.
Yeah.
Oh, clearly they burn the dead. That's why you don't see any tomb anywhere.
Yeah, maybe they just hope that the nature animals take care of it and save them from paperwork.
Yes, the circle of life. Ah.
Yeah, there are some cultures where they just leave the body to the rocks and hope that the animals eat the body and thus became part of the circle of life.
I'm getting frustrated, so I decide to risk it all and start stealing whenever I can. Yes.
Couldn't you just complete side quests or something?
Excuse me?
Couldn't you just complete side quests or something?
No, because, you see, we are close enough to the goal that we don't need a quest to make this any longer than it needs to be, but at the same time, we are not close enough as to be done in 5 minutes. So since I want to be done with this as fast as possible, I am starting to act desperate. Can you kids go away? It's nighttime! Bedtime for you! Stop looking at me! I'm trying to sneak around! Go away, for crying out loud! Oh, they're still looking at me! Go away, you stupid kids!
Do these characters work on a
Oh,
day-night
great.
cycle?
They spotted me. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, I was wondering, do these characters even have any day-night cycle?
Oh, come on! Where do you come from? Stupid guard, stupid children, never minding their own businesses. Ugh. Go away. And I'm reloading.
What do you think is the best side quest that you've encountered in this game?
Probably Dawnguard?
Yeah.
Or the Dark Brotherhood.
Dawnguard is the vampire thing, right?
Yes. You get to kill a lot of vampires. And you get to go into 2 different realms.
Perhaps I should start a new game as a character named Buffy.
Don't do that.
Yeah, I can come up with the original names.
Yes, original character. Do not steal. I'll take this gold, thank you very much. At some point, I'm going to notice that I can just take the gold without risking to get in trouble because the merchant just has allowed me to take his gold. which means that all this sneaking about that I am doing right now, it's pointless.
I'm trying to remember all the names that I've given to my D&D game characters. There is the... Oh yeah, on Icewind Dale 2 I made a female half-orc barbarian named Hara Bloodwolf.
That sounds dyslexic, if I'm being honest.
What does that mean?
Don't you know what dyslexia is?
It's kind of an reading
Impediment.
Predicament.
No, predicament is not the word. Impediment is the word.
Impediment.
It is not dangerous to read. Unless you're reading some sort of dark, evil tomes that will consume your sanity if you read them, then it's dangerous. But
well,
it's not a reading predicament.
Well, actually, reading an Elder Scroll is a reading predicament for
I know, but guess
what?
Guess what? I get to actually read a couple of Elder Scrolls in the Dawnguard quest.
Yeah.
And I can do that because I am the chosen one.
Yeah, Dragonborns are able to do that because dragons themselves are a temporal anomaly.
You know what I like about regular D&D?
Yeah.
A Dragonborn is just another race, not a chosen one. But no, Skyrim has to be the special snowflake, so special little kid who wants the participation medal. So let's get the Dragonborn. And this is my character, guys. He is the Dragonborn. Not like the other Dragonborns that are so useless. This is my cool, original, totally cool Dragonborn. And he's the chosen one. And he defeats the dragons. And he's so cool, you guys. I'm going to stop there.
Yeah. Skyrim's main character overcompensates.
I think Skyrim overcompensates in general. Right. So we're getting close. We're getting
Are you
close.
just wandering around and hope that someone has money?
No, I'm going back to Whiterun. Because you see, once a day has passed, the merchants there will replenish their money pool. So I hope I can sell some more and get more money. And this is the game. This is the last stretch. We can do it. We can get ourselves a new home. And we can read the tomes of legend. And then we can become blind afterwards. Masturbation joke. Anyway.
I don't think there's any scientific proof of that.
You don't say. I want to see some sources for that statement, young man.
Yeah. Though in the back in the day, some doctors were worried that looking from a train window could hurt your eyes.
In olden days, anything could hurt your eyes. If you didn't know. I mean, the more you go back in time, the more it is believed that literally anything can hurt you. Which in most cases it can. But with the advent of modern medicine and modernity in general, not thanks to capitalism, really, we can be more scientifically assured that jacking off does not make you blind. Yes. Yeah, I circumnavigated back to that because I didn't know where to go otherwise. Can you tell I'm tired? You see, earlier on in the night, me and the family, we had a bit of a feast. A bit of a...
Conflict?
No, a bit of a feast, as in we ate.
Feast! Okay, yeah.
Feast! That's... Okay. You know what, never mind. We had a bit of a feast, as in we had a lot of pizza and a calzone and delicious fried rice rolls, which we call supli. And I think I'm still in the digestion phase as we speak. I also have a bit of a sleep attack, which would be normal after a bit of a what's the scientific term? You know, when you feel sleepy after a huge feast? That is happening to my body.
Yeah, lucky you, I just ate one carrion pie and one chicken hamburger before starting this session.
Chicken hamburger doesn't sound very light either, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, but it's those microwave things.
No, we had lovingly made pizza for us. Very delicious pizza from local restaurant, local family business. And it was delicious.
What toppings did it have?
Oh, nothing special. I'm mostly a traditionalist when it comes to pizza. I like to go for the margherita, personally, which is the bog standard tomato and mozzarella pizza. But I also like to indulge in the very fancy variant to the margherita, which is the margherita with mozzarella di bufala. The bufala mozzarella is a special kind of mozzarella which is much more delicious and a little bit more expensive.
Yeah, I usually get frutti di mare when I'm on a pizza place.
Also, we also had a calzone, mostly to share between us. Because today was cheat day, as they say. So we took advantage of that. It's nice to have those kinds of days every once in a while. I'm stealing from an old woman.
Yeah, I some time ago significantly reduced my usage of beef and pork, so there are less options for me in those kind of pizza places. So,
well, you can cheat every once in a while. You don't have to stick to a strict diet all the time.
Yeah,
sometimes you can have that.
There are some.
When you do have that, it's more special now.
I do sometimes have relapses.
Don't call them relapses. It makes it sound like you're throwing out of the window years of progress. No, it's cheat day. Call it cheat day. It's allowed to have a cheat day once.
I mean, relapse doesn't necessarily mean that you throw away.
It sounds bad. It sounds as if you were a drug addict, but then you tried to quit the stuff, but then you had a moment of weakness, and now it's all over. You're back on the stuff again.
Yeah, I do generally make an exception if it's some food that I've never tasted before. I just had to know what moussaka was.
Is that the yak sandwich?
No, it's kind of like lasagna, but I guess it has eggplants or something, and moussaka is like
Yes, we have that as well. We call it melanzane alla parmigiana, and frankly, I hate it. I really, really don't like the texture of eggplants. But I will definitely go for a traditional lasagna any time of the month.
Yeah.
It's not just Garfield who likes lasagna, by the way.
It has been my favorite food as well. Though, since I reduced the beef and pork, I had to choose a new favorite food.
I'm pretty sure there are options, dietary options for lasagna as well.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
though
could
they're
still-
not usually available on stores.
No, but you can make your own if you had the time and the patience.
Yeah, I do have to figure out some kind of a spice mix that works better with chicken.
Although, if you go to a restaurant, then more likely than not, you might just be able to ask the waiter to not have beef in your lasagna.
Oh, that's an option?
I mean, whenever I order a kind of food that has something in it that I don't like, I very courteously, very kindly ask the waiter if it's possible not to put this item inside the food I ordered. And you never knew that was an option? You never bothered to ask?
Yeah, if the food has something I don't like, they'll just look out for a food item that has something that I like.
Or you can have that, but ask not to include that.
This opens so many possibilities.
Although I don't know how good a lasagna without beef could possibly be, but I'm sure you could try
I guess
that.
I can ask them to replace it with some other ingredient.
Sure. I'm pretty sure you can. I have never met a restaurant or a waiter who would not accommodate you for something so insignificant.
Take a look.
For example, I am a big baby when it comes to my hamburgers. I don't want tomato and salad in it. No vegetables, thank you very much. So I either ask to not include those, or if there is a convenient option without that, such as, I don't know, the bacon double grilled cheeseburger,
Yeah, I used to do
then
that.
I take that.
Yeah, I used to do that with pickles, but since growing up, I have accustomed to the taste of it.
The only vegetables I endure, I tolerate, is spinach, which is funny to me because I know for a fact that spinach is one of the most hated vegetables.
Yeah, me too. I was pretty much the only person in my comprehensive school that liked spinach soup.
Okay, like is a strong word. Tolerate is the word here. They had me eat so much spinach when I was a child because it was the thing I tolerated the most that to this day it's an acceptable option for me. Of course, there always is the minestrone option.
Yeah. I do. Carrot is my favorite when it comes to vegetables.
You know, I wish I learned to like carrots, or at least to tolerate carrots, because I hear they are good for your eyes, for your sight. Maybe my astigmatism would not be a problem nowadays if I ate more whatever vitamin carrots have.
Yeah.
But then again, there is no scientific correlation between carrots and astigmatism. So, positive
So
or
anyway, what is
otherwise.
Alicia doing?
Yeah, okay. Let's round back into this game. Sometimes we just go into ridiculous runs. I think this is it! We bought a house! We did it!
Available right now.
Ooh.
We did it! Oh my god! We did it! We're almost free from the cars!
And then after Alicia has finished both volumes. Now what?
Oh, it's her problem, not mine. Oh my gosh!
Oh
We
yeah,
did it!
Oh yeah, I guess I could go kick Aldo in the gonads.
I mean, if I ever get to. Right, oh my gosh! Matti, my man! My compadre! We have a home! In this economy, no less!
Yeah.
And we can go inside! And we can read our high-class porn!
Okay, so we finally get to read it out loud.
Yes. Yes, we can. Well, it's sadly very unfurnished, this abode, but who cares? Just as long as you have a table and a chair, we can sit down and read.
Is there any way to pimp your house?
Yes, there is, but you have to spend more money, which we currently don't have because we just bought it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now we're just playing Sims.
No, I don't think so. Oh, thank goodness, there is a bench and a table. I guess, I would have preferred a proper sofa and a nice fireplace, but this will do.
I
Our
guess
tail
sofas weren't
disappeared.
invented yet.
No, we can buy it with money, which we currently don't have. It's time to read the Lusty Argonian Maid, Volume 1. The Lusty Argonian Maid, Volume 1, by Crassius Curio, also known as Uncle Crassius. Act 4, Scene 3, continued. Lifts her tail. Certainly not, kind sir. I am here but to clean your chambers.
Is that all you have come here for, little one, my Canberra?
Chambers.
Yeah, chambers, yeah.
I have no idea what it is you imply, master. I am but a poor Argonian maid.
So you are, my dumpling, and a good one at that. Such strong legs and a shapely tail.
You embarrass me, sir.
Fear not, you are safe here with me.
Oh, ho, ho, ho. Oh, this is getting spicy. I must finish my cleaning, sir. The mistress will have my head if I do not.
Cleaning, eh? I have something for you. Here, polish my spear.
Gasp! But it is huge! It could take me all night!
Plenty of time, my sweet, plenty of time.
End of Act 4, Scene 3. And this is Book 1.
Yeah, I do remember a couple of pictures where this someone cosplaying as the Dragonborn and she has the Lusty Argonian in her hands. First, I was like, ugh. And then I was like, oh.
The Lusty Argonian Maid, Volume 2 by Crassius Curio. Uncle Crassius strikes again. Act 7, Scene 2, continued. My goodness, that's quite a loaf! But however shall it fit my oven? Wink!
This loaf isn't ready for baking, my sweet. It has yet to rise.
This is all so mature. If only we could hurry that along, how could I accomplish such a task?
Oh, my foolish little Argonian maid, you must use your hands.
You wish me to knead the loaf? Here?
Of course. Phew.
But what if the mistress catches me? Your loaf was meant to satisfy her appetite.
Don't fret, my delicate flower. I'll satisfy the mistress's cravings later.
Very well, but I'm afraid my oven isn't hot enough. Wink! It could take hours.
Plenty of time, my sweet. Plenty of time.
End of Act 7, Scene 2. And that was it. That was the Lusty Argonian Maid. I know, I wish there was more of it. But this is some spicy literature, let me tell you.
Yeah.
So, was it as good for you as it was for me?
Yeah, that may become rather old at some point, once the novelty has gone.
Well, like I said, it is classic erotica. So, lots of allusions and metaphors. But that's what makes it more spicy. Right, so let's put these masterpieces onto the table. They are our coffee table reads, if you will.
I should do at one point challenge a theater director made to be that I write a scene with the erotic scene with as unerotic enthusiasms as possible.
Right. So that's it. We did it. That's the end of the journey. We accomplished our goal. We found the Argonian Maid. Not literally an Argonian Maid, the books about the Lusty Argonian Maid. We honored the legacy of Crassius Curio. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant to say Uncle Crassius. And we bought a house to read said books inside of it. We've done everything but performing a German suplex. Sadly, that has not come to pass. But hey, you can try it at home. Try it on your little brothers and your little sisters. They'll be happy. Okay, so it's the end of an era, as you put it. Some time ago.
Some video where they assassinated the emperor with the German souffle.
Ah, you say German souffle.
I have studied French.
Nobody says souffle nowadays, not even the French, just so you know. Okay. The adventures of Alicia the Punchcat have come to an end. It wasn't a bombastic, spectacular, exploding end. Well, at least not in the traditional sense. But we did everything important that we set out to do.
I guess there could be more of this kind of fantasy comedy types where the main point is the comedy. I guess Bard's Tales are closest to that. I haven't played those, but my understanding.
Oh, that's the one with the beer song. I know it for that. Beer, 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 wonderful beer, beer, beer. There once was a guy named Crassius Curio. He made a super cool story about a lusty maid. She was an Argonian maid, and she liked to knead the loaves. And she was beautiful, and we all loved her. Maid, 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 beautiful maid, 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 beautiful maid, maid, maid. The lusty Argonian maid came into our lives. And our lives afterwards were never the same again, because we like to sing now about the last Argonian maid, who made our hearts flutter. Maid, 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 beautiful maid, maid, maid. Okay.
Wait a minute. Cassius didn't have a wife.
Good night, everybody. I've been Madhog, thy master, and this has been Hedonistic Actor. And remember, don't get too hung up on lore. It's not healthy.
Yeah.
On that note, don't play Kingdom Hearts. Mwah! Good night, children.
Night.
Maid, 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 beautiful maid, maid, maid.
Maid, maid, beautiful maid.
A long time ago, way back in history, when all there was to drink was nothing but drops of tea. Along came